Ashe, greetings, grand rising, a grand day, and peace and goodwill to you all once again, my fellow natural, native, earthly humans. You, the earth's organic humans, and soulful humans, you, my fellow humans with soul, the world over. You don't know. I am yours truly, I, the mystic philosopher. And many thanks for stopping by and giving up your time to listen to another perspective. With yours truly, I, the mystic philosopher. And welcome to this part 22 and the continuation of the great big black and white lie exposed. Or if by chance you have not yet watched part 1 through to part 21, and hopefully in that consecutive order, I ask that you please do so before watching this part 22, or that you please do so at your earliest convenience. I honestly do think and believe that if at all you are seriously interested in getting the facts and the most truthful understanding and overstanding of what I am talking about in this series, I highly recommend that you go back and watch from part 1 and follow through to the end. Now, for those of you who have been following this series thus far, or might have been listening to yours truly speak on this topic elsewhere and over the years, you will have noticed and no doubt came to the right conclusion that I, the mystic philosopher, have made it my personal mission to expose this lie, and by extension to expose these lies, yes, the great big black and white lies, and to have most of you, if not all of you, my people, and others to whom it may concern, come to the knowledge of the proven truth, and to be enlightened to the destructive effects this lie, and by extension these lies, have had and are having on every aspect of our lives. And having come to the knowledge and the proven truth, hopefully, you will then begin to redeem yourself from the curses of being ignorant to this lie and these lies, by extension, being ignorant to these lies. Hopefully, you will begin to emancipate yourselves from both the mental, the spiritual, and the physical slavery that this lie, and again by extension these lies, have cast upon you. For as it has been written hundreds and possibly thousands of years ago, both written and spoken, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, and my people perish for lack of knowledge, be lack of knowledge. And as it is my custom, let me quickly remind you of my main objectives, meaning the goals that I hope to have achieved by the end of this series, and the messages and facts that I intend to successfully convey to you all, my very patient, my very astute and tolerant viewers, listeners, independent thinkers, and of course, truth seekers, for you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Number 1, and my objectives are now at least 9, and they are as follows. Number 1 is to show and prove to you, all my fellow highly melanin and highly carbon skin complexion, natural native earthly humans, why we should not and why we must not call ourselves black. Number 2 is to show and prove to you why we should not and why we must not pronounce upon ourselves black, or allow others to pronounce upon us the word black. Number 3 is to show and prove to you why we should not and why we must not identify with the word black, Why we should not answer to the word black or allow others to call, label, list, identify, name and bestow on us black. As an example, a black people, a black community, a black business, a black nation, a black country and a black race of people, etc. We should not allow it. Let's stop it. And number 4, and by the same token, is to show and prove to you why we should not and why we must not call, label, list, identify, name, and bestow on Caucasians or anyone or any other melanin and carbon skin complexion deficient race of people, or if you prefer, any other pale skin, pinkish pale skin, or reddish pale skin, you name it for that matter. We should not bestow upon them the word or call them white. In fact, it is to show and prove to you that by calling, naming, marking, listing, profiling, and labeling, etc., the aforementioned people white is to consciously or unconsciously, knowingly or unknowingly, literally, spiritually, psychologically, physically, intellectually, and otherwise, profess and confess with your own tongue, with your own mouth, that they are your superior and that you are their inferior. That is to confess that they are the light, or to be saying that they are the light and you are the darkness. They are good and you are bad. But please stay tuned. I have much more to say. And that, as I continue to expose the lies, and I think some of you are getting it. Number 5 is to show and prove to you that the English word black, more correctly, the English word black, is a curse word. It is a word that brings only bad luck, a bad omen. It brings subjugation, humiliation, mental and physical enslavement, mistrust. It brings harassment, driving while they consider you to be driving while black. When those black Caucasians pull you over and start to harass you, yes, it brings harassment, it brings injustice. We have no time to get into all of it. It brings hatred and misfortune and much more upon all those to whom it has been called, cast, and broadcast, recast and rebroadcast. Number 6 is to show and prove to you that the earth, our Mother Earth, and all her natural inhabitants are under the spell and the curse of black. Yes, the spell and the curse of blackness. Stay tuned. Number 7 is to show and prove from the Caucasoid, imperialist, and colonizers' own dictionaries, namely the English dictionaries, that the people that have called, named, labeled, and list themselves as white people and are calling, naming, labeling, and listing themselves white are not at all white. In fact, somebody have to be blind to not see that. It is to show and prove that nothing about them is at all white. In fact, it is to also show and prove that if or when most things, if not all things, are intelligently, honestly, seriously, meticulously, and sincerely considered and evaluated, most of them, if not all of them, are black. It is to show and prove to you that they are the real and true black ones. They flip the script. They change the label. Yes, the real and true black people. And thus, and in accordance to their own English dictionaries, meanings and definitions of the word black, coupled with what? Coupled with their works, coupled with their deeds, coupled with their actions, coupled with their present in the moment, and also with their past. Yes, their history and their track record. It's there in their own books. Their carnage, coupled with their carnage, their bloodbath and exploitations, etc. Upon and among all the native peoples of the earth with whom they have unfortunately and regrettably encountered, most of them, if not all of them, are the ones that should and must be called, labeled, listed, marked, profile, and name what? Black. I ask that you please stay tuned and pay very close attention to this point as I delve deeper and deeper into this topic and into this series. And it is also to show and prove to you that not all the people that are called, labeled, listed, and named black, all our people, for example, are indeed black. Some of them are. May I say some of we are really black, but again, stay tuned. We're going to be getting into that. Much more to come on that topic. Number 8 is to show and prove to you that this our current existence upon this planet is a game, and one in which we melaninated people, we melanin and carbon skin complexion people are being played like pawns on a chessboard. It's a game that is heavily stacked against us. And that in order to change the game in our favor, or at least to get it play fair and reasonable, we have to change the name black. We have to stop calling ourselves black and all its synonyms and euphemisms as well. And number 9, now, it is to help awaken and enlighten you, my fellow highly enriched in melanin and highly enriched carbon skin complexion people. You, the Earth's organic humans, and natural native earthly humans, to awaken and enlighten you to the fact that by you allowing yourselves to be called, named, labeled, marked, profiled, listed, etc. as black, and to have the word black pronounced, cast, broadcast, recast, and rebroadcast daily on you is also to voluntarily surrender your dignity. To voluntarily surrender your integrity, your own intellect, your intelligence, and your self-respect. And above all, it is also to voluntarily surrender to the Belak curse. And it's also to insult your intelligence and that of our most honorable ancestors. And to surrender to the Belak spell and its sorcerers and practitioners. But much, much more on those facts and on these facts as I continue to delve deeper and deeper into this series. Please stay tuned and pay attention and submit your questions. Someone, most likely a black Caucasian, or it is also possible that he or she might well be one of my own highly enriched in melanin and highly enriched carbon skin complexion brothers or sisters. One of my own people, having listened to one or more of my presentations in this series, has accused me of trying to make an issue out of nothing, a mountain out of a molehill. Because to him or her, it does not matter what you call yourselves or by what name others might call you, because it is the content of your character that truly matters. He or she continued by saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me," unquote. Now, from my perspective, it is self-evident that this person is either an ignoramus, a black ignoramus, a black Caucasian, or all of the above. I gave you 5 possibilities as to who that person is or who he or she might well be. Number 1, I said that it is possible that he or she is one of my own highly enriched, highly enriched in melanin and highly enriched in carbon skin complexion brothers and sisters. I've encountered many. One of my own people, yes. Now, if that is the case, then it is self-evident that he or she is a victim that is still under the curse of the Belak spell. The Belak spell meaning he or she is so engulfed in and by the curse of blackness, that he or she lacks the ability to see, he lacks the ability to know, lacks the ability to understand and understand all that I am saying and all that I have been saying thus far in this series. But I will have much more to say about the Belak spell later. Please stay tuned. Number 2, I said that he or she is an ignoramus, or he or she might be an ignoramus, meaning he or she is an utterly ignorant or an utterly stupid person. He or she may have common sense, common means common, or do have some common sense, but unfortunately it is not activated, it is inactive. And consequently, he or she lacks the ability to think critically, to think analytically, to think logically. He lacks the ability to think independently and then to make rational decisions and conclusions for him or herself. Another word or another name that can be used to describe such an individual other than an ignoramus is sheep. He or she is a sheep, meaning a very docile person. The evidence has shown and proved that sheep, and especially domesticated sheep, are quite easily influenced and thus quite easily led astray. Even when you show them and explain to them the logical facts in the simplest language possible, and they might tell you that they get it, that they understand what you're saying. But as soon as an influencer comes along, be it an influencer brother or a brother who is an influencer, a sister, a parent, a child, a neighbor, a pastor, a fellow church member, a co-worker, a politician, a radio and TV announcer, you name it or you name them. But as soon as anyone comes along and tell them otherwise, they what? They revert right back to what? Square one, and start calling themselves black again. They reinvoke the spell upon themselves. They start telling you that they are black and they are proud. They might even begin to turn on you and might even try to bring harm to you. The sad thing also is that an influencer does not necessarily need facts to convince and influence sheep. In fact, an influencer can be just as stupid or even more utterly stupid, utterly ignorant and sheepish as he or she is. But all that an influencer needs to convince and influence sheep is his or her charisma and believability. Number 3, he or she is a black ignoramus. I said that he or she might be a black ignoramus, meaning he or she is all of the aforementioned and more compounded by black, meaning evil. Check the word again. Black meaning evil, gloomy, sullen, sable, dirty, ugly, threatening, suspicious, bad luck, bad, without moral goodness, indicating disgrace, grimy, wicked, and much, much more. And number 4, he or she is a black Caucasian. Now, by now, and if at all you have been listening to any or all of my previous episodes in this series, you should know who and what a black Caucasian is. By now, you should know who and what a black Caucasian is and who and what black Caucasians are. And the same is true for number 5. He or she is either an ignoramus, a black ignoramus, a black Caucasian, or both. So, let me now address his or her comments. Quote, "You are trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. For it does not matter what you call yourself or by what name others call you. It is the content of your character that truly matters. For sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." Unquote. It is quite unfortunate and very regrettable, but what this person And in fact, what most people don't know, understand, and understand, is that the content of your character is defined by your name. And the content of your character is enveloped in your name. You are, in essence, you are your name. Your name says everything there is to know about you. Your name influences you. Your name is your character. Your name is your reputation. Your name is your status. And you manifest the characteristics and qualities of your name in your daily existence, in your daily life, and more. For your information, my listeners, I will be talking much more about the word name and the subject of names, good names and bad names, and the practical, spiritual, physical, emotional, and psychological effects on our lives. I will even be discussing and sharing my perspectives on it at a spiritual and metaphysical level. And I will also be answering questions such as, what is a name? What is in a name? The importance of names, words, sounds, energy, frequency, vibrations, etc. And above all, the importance of having a good name, and the importance of naming, calling, and pronouncing a good name on your children or on our children, etc. So please stay tuned. However, while on the topic, and before I conclude, while on the topic of name, let me quickly talk a bit more about names and the importance of a good name, and the importance of having a good name and being given a good name. And also, let me share with you some examples of a good name and some very familiar recommendations that most of you have been given but have taken for granted. And have been taken for granted. Now, in episode 19, you might remember I told you that the knowledge of the power of words, sounds, energy, frequency, vibrations, resonance, and names, etc., and the occult, spiritual, and metaphysical sciences that are involved were and are extremely important to our most honorable ancestors, and that they were not something that they took for granted or would have taken for granted. I told you that under no circumstances would they knowingly, sensibly, and intentionally called, labeled, or named themselves, let alone gave, called, labeled, or named their children any words and any names. I told you then, and I still maintain that under no circumstances would they, our most honorable ancestors, knowingly, sensibly, and intentionally, give, call, name, and name themselves, let alone give, call, and name their children meaningless words or meaningless names, let alone any names that they know could or would pronounce bad luck and cast evil spells on and curses on them or on their children. I told you that even to this day, as part of most, if not all, African cultures and traditions, naming a newborn child is a very sacred thing within tradition, wherein traditional ceremonies and rituals are performed. And to prove this fact, I read the following from an article on an African website called panafrican.net, titled "African Naming Ceremonies is a quintessential tradition." And I quote, "Choosing a name for an African child is a sacred event, one of overwhelming importance. And the all-important African tradition of naming ceremony, the newborn is introduced formally to his immediate and extended family, as well as to important members of the community," unquote. Now, according to the Adamic race, history and holy book, aka the imperialists and colonizers race, and the Black Caucasians history and holy book, commonly known as the Christian Holy Bible. And I quote, "A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold." That is according to Proverbs 22 verse 1. A good name is better than fine perfume. Ecclesiastes 7:1. The memory of the righteous is a blessing, but the name of the wicked will rot. Proverbs 10:7. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. Proverbs 3:4. Now, time will not permit me to expound on this right now, but stay tuned. I'll be back at you with it. In the meantime and between time, and in the interest of time, this will be the end of this part 22, so please stay tuned. There are much more thought-provoking truths, insights, and perspectives, etc. to come, so please join me in part 23 for the continuation in part 23. There I will pick up right where I'm leaving off, right here. Again, I say thanks for watching and for listening. Your feedback and your feed forward, your rebuttals, your questions and comments, even your criticism are welcome and are encouraged. And if you think or believe that these presentations are worth sharing, worth provoking a discussion, provoking thoughts, etc., please share, please discuss it with your friends and your family. Start some reasoning online. Most of you guys do live. Go live and get feed forward and feedback and other thoughts. In the meantime and between time, here is willing that in your becoming, that you be more and more and much more, and definitely not be less. Let no one be less you, but be more. For I am the mystic philosopher. Ashe, 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 I say.